All right, so we started the meeting at 5:30. We had a executive session, and now we're back into open session. So our next item on the agenda is we're meeting with Jim Mulcahy to discuss paving Montello. So Jim, we had received a request from a Montello Street resident to consider paving Montello, and we wanted to bring you in to talk about it. So what are your thoughts about paving Montello? Thank you.
We had discussed this last year.
Do we want the microphone?
Oh, do you want to come up to the mic, Jim? And we'll ask anybody that wants to speak to come on up to the mic, please.
We discussed this last year, and we came to the conclusion that we were going to table any plans until there was a more definitive plan for the Carver project,
Right.
and that's where we're at.
That is where we're at, right. And the Carver plan is still in the permitting process. I don't think that anything has happened with that. So Jim and I did discuss this, was it last fall or last spring? And that we just thought it was prudent not to take any action in the area until the Carver urban renewal plan had finished the permitting process, and we had a better idea what was going to happen
Right.
there. Okay, so that's where,
The paving's at.
that's where it was left. Okay, so are you Kristen?
I am.
Okay,
Hi, how are you?
Kristen, good. Do you want to come up to the mic and speak? Okay, very good.
So I'm Kristen Fintemeyer. I live at 10 Montello Street. My husband is with me as well. He's Eric. So I'm actually speaking on behalf of my neighbors. I brought in packets, which I gave to you. I'm sorry it was so late. Vacation was last week. But there's some emails in there from the owners of 16 Montello Street as well concerning the paving. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here tonight. He's at another town meeting for a different town. But, so we moved into town about 2.5 years ago. We live on Montello Street with 4 other people, and it connects to Heather's Path, which is paved. When we purchased our houses, I guess there was some conversations between Jamie Emerson, who had purchased the property, and Mr. Mulcahy. And at that time, there was no urban renewal plan, so they had discussions about the road being paved within 2 to 3 years, possibly. And then urban renewal happened, which unfortunately changed everything. So our major concern is there's a lot of potholes when they happen. And they usually come back every 4 to 4 weeks. On average, there's like 56 potholes in this 0.2 of a mile road when it happens. The people who get the brunt of the problem are 10 and 16 because we really can't avoid it. 6, they actually have paving in front of them. One of the concerns is, of course, maintaining those. The other concerns are concerns that would just happen with the road, and like the road is a dirt road, and every time someone drives down it, you get dust. We have put the spray on it. They've been doing that, which this last one held up the road a little bit better from potholes coming back as quick, but the dust is still horrible. If you're outside, we try to play with the kids in the yard, and the dog, it's like dust just comes at you. It comes in the windows and so forth. So there was in the packet, I won't go through the whole thing, you can look at it later. So there's just the environmental, the dust, and so forth concerns that we were putting forth. The width of the road is a concern for us. My son is on the buses. When the bus picks him up, no other car can fit beside him on the road because of the width of it. So the bus sometimes has to pull over, let other cars go through, and then he'll get on. Sometimes he catches it going the other way, so it drives down Montello towards Carver, and then it'll come back from the Carver and towards Montello. She actually has to be on the left-hand side of the road to open her doors. So the width. I know the kids, my son's been hanging out with more kids on Heather's Path. He's almost gotten hit a couple times on his bike on the road because people drive down the middle of the road. I understand the concerns with paving the road and the carbon urban renewal, and I totally support the fact that we don't want big trucks coming down there and we want to keep the speeds down. I just want to know, what's the plan? What can we do with the road to address dust concerns, to stay on top of it? I don't want to have to keep calling Mr. Mulcahy's. I'm sure he doesn't want to keep hearing from me to say, there's potholes and it's bad. My husband does work on EMS, unfortunately not in Plympton yet because we're new here. He's on Carver. It's difficult for him to get out and respond to calls when the potholes come in. So we want to understand, what can we do for the road? If we are going to wait, what's the threshold of waiting? In talking with Carver, recently they said, okay, well, it would be nice to be 3 years in having this plan, but realistically, he said, we're looking at 10 plus years because of all the changes and all the issues that they're having. So are we saying 10 plus years we're going to revisit it? Is there something we can do in the meantime with something different than dirt? Is there, just, and I don't know, because I'm not a road person. I have to defer to a specialist, but just something else we can do in the meantime until we can pave, right?
Okay. I think I would have to defer back to Jim. Maybe more of a regular grading type schedule?
The road, prior to the 3 new houses built by Mr. Emerson, we used to grade the road 3 to 4 times a year. I would estimate we'll be up there 5 to 7 times this year. Pretty tough 2-man crew to give a gravel road much more priority than that. We can spray it more often, that's not out of the question, but as far as getting up there and grading it, 5 to 7 is going to be where I'm at. It's already been done 3 times this year. It'll probably be touched up in a couple of weeks, sprayed again. Well, over halfway there.
When does most of the grading take place? Is it in the spring?
It's done on an as-needed basis. I mean, it's not going to be maintained to the smoothness of a paved road. It's still a dirt road. It gets bad, we'll go up and address it. I was up there this morning, there's a few holes where people, when you pull off a road and hit the dirt, you apply your brakes, it pushes the dirt, and that's where your holes start. And they just get worse over time. And eventually, we get up there and we grade it.
Do you mow on the side of the roads? You do down there, don't you?
Mow, patch potholes, we sweep now. A lot going on. Small crew.
Okay.
The mowing hasn't happened yet this year.
We haven't been up there yet. We're still mowing.
Yeah.
Got to mow Crescent, Lake, before school starts. There's a lot going on.
Okay. All right. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Kristen? Because I think there might be other people that want to speak too.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to add, just as long as we can try and figure something out.
Okay.
I understand the constraints of the town with people. But like you said, he has been down 3 times, and if we said 5, then it doesn't give us much. Because I think the worst months that I've noticed is in the spring when we get the heavy rains, and then especially once the school buses come back is when the potholes, because you have the Carver bus 10 times a day goes down, back and forth, and then Carver bus goes 8 times, Plympton does 10. So you've got that on top of all the normal traffic that goes down there from delivery trucks and so forth in a day. So.
And that's exactly why we don't want it to be too nice, because I think it's going to really increase your traffic if people start using that, which I think they already are, is cutting through the Dunkin' Donuts and going down Montello. And if that road is really nice, then you're going to have a lot more traffic and probably a lot faster as well. So that's been a concern.
And I can completely understand that, and I can see that. Living there, I actually work from home, and my office is right in front of the house, so I can see it from most of the cars. From what I observe, I know the residents that go down it because it's the same cars every time, and I know the ones who avoid it because they tell me they avoid it. A majority of the traffic that goes down the street is either residential or like it's the Poland Springs, the trash companies, you know, those people who deliver to the people who live there, right? We don't get big trucks. And the potholes amazingly don't slow people down. There's several people that drive 40 miles an hour on the road and just bomb down it, right? Not everybody, but you still get it. So the potholes, or the dirt road, doesn't really deter the speed on the road. I wish it did.
That's a shame. That's a real shame. Well, I think once, and this thing with Carver may never even happen.
Yeah.
And when it becomes more definitive, then we'll have to look at other options. And if it does happen, then we had talked about the possibility of closing the road to through traffic with some type of traffic deterrent, whether it was
Discussion of a gate.
putting a gate there, so it wasn't a through street. So we are working, because we certainly appreciate, you know, everything that's happening down there, and we don't want to increase your traffic load and have faster cars going down there, because you've got children, and the children are out on the roads, and you want to be out and enjoy it too in a safe manner. So it's something that we are very aware of, and we've been trying to stay on top of what's happening in Carver too, so that we do protect what you've got down there.
And if it's possible to investigate to see if there's something else besides dirt. I mean, I don't know if there's like a type of stone you can put down that doesn't cause dust to fly up, that still keeps it not a paved road. If there's something like that we can do, then we'd definitely be open to it, because you know, it would cut down on the dust and so forth, and
Okay.
the rest of it would be addressed
Well,
later.
maybe we can explore something with Jim. I don't know if there's anything out there.
Very difficult to grade that stuff, and it's twice as dusty.
Okay.
Is there any technology for the potholes? I mean, filling it with stone or crushed stone or something, in now or in the future, if it were expensive?
No, potholes are gonna be there regardless, because it's a dirt road. The only way to eliminate the potholes is pave the road. Basically, it's a gravel road. It's a rural community, gravel road. I grew up on a gravel road, I'm hearing this, I know how it is. But, I mean, the solution is to pave the road.
Right.
We decided to table that, and that's where I'm at with it.
No, that's where I was at with it.
You know, that's the solution. Everything else is, you're gonna be right back where you are now. It's the same thing's gonna happen again. In fact, it has to be worse.
Well, if we were to water or whatever you do on a more regular basis.
It's the stuff I put on the road in the wintertime to melt the ice. It's an
Okay.
agricultural byproduct with calcium chloride in it. That's what deters the dust. I put that down the last time we graded, it worked pretty good. And I put it down before there were complaints. Because for the initial application it's a little bit sticky,
Okay. So it's a little messy?
a little bit, and then it dries up and the dust gets on it and it's better. The more you do it, the better it works. So we'll do it again in the near future, and we'll apply another application and see how it works.
Okay.
Hasn't been as bad this year because it's been raining so much.
So I just had two more questions, and then I'll
Sure.
sit down and let anyone else talk. So one question was, when you do come down the road next time, we do have a little bit of a drainage issue, so there is between 6 and 10, the easement that the water's supposed to go down. It's not really going down it right now because the way the road's graded, it sits right at my property line, so when it dries, it actually smells like raw sewage. It's really nasty. So I didn't know if maybe we can look in that, in the meantime while we're doing our work.
We'll take a look at that.
And then just if we had an again, like I asked, an understanding of what we're looking from a time frame, so I don't come and be like, okay, it's been 2 years, now what? And understand like what the time frame is that we're gonna look at and maybe revisit it, knowing the plans.
What do you think about revisiting? I mean, I wouldn't want to revisit until there's some type of change, some definitive change in Carver, because that's going to be a project with that. And there may be some change in the layout of the road. I'm not sure if there would be or not.
I'm interested in the only thing that would really gonna affect Plympton would be that gate they discussed. And to eliminate through traffic.
Mm-hmm.
The residents are gonna, it'll essentially become a dead-end road, is what'll happen. But it can't be for emergency purposes, you can't put Jersey barriers or anything like that.
Right.
You gotta be able to have access with a keyed access.
Right, and that's what we talked about.
That's what they're, that's what.
Right, that's what we had talked
That's what
about.
I understood they were
Mhm.
talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that could be put in regardless of where the urban renewal goes?
It would have to be installed by Carver, in Carver.
We'd have to work with them jointly, and we had gotten an opinion from council on how to go about doing that. And it would be something that they would have to initiate, but we had talked about that we would support if, you know, if it needed, as a traffic deterrent. So, you know, maybe I could reach out to Carver and see if they have any interest in doing it now. I'd be surprised if they do, where everything is up in the air, but as things start to come into place, if this urban renewal plan happens, we're gonna wanna get traffic controlled right away. We're not gonna wanna wait until they've got this big building back there. We're gonna wanna try to nip this in the bud. So this would be one of the first things that we would go after, is getting a gate there to prevent through traffic while it's under construction.
I have one more question. So if, let's just say at one point, whenever you do it, the road comes
Mm-hmm.
in, if you, how far does the town go into the properties if you widen the road?
How far would we go, Jim?
Usually the layout's 40 feet wide, the road's 20, 22, 17, like it is up on Bob's house. Subtract from 40 each side, but the road may not be in the middle, so it varies. If the town owns 40 feet, the road's 20 feet, the 20 feet drifts within the 40. Maybe.
So like in the case of the Kirklands, they don't have much front, right?
No,
Does that
we
mean,
have our yard.
does that mean they lose their yard, or does it go into the other side of the street?
On that, right there, I don't know, I don't have that in.
I was just curious, because if we decided, let's just say you're not gonna pay for a couple of years, and we decided we wanna plant trees, we don't wanna plant trees beside the road that you're gonna dig up. So
Right.
we wanna make sure we put them in far enough.
Usually it's with the property, not the roads, isn't it?
I just go by the utility poles usually on town property.
Not on that street.
No, that's.
Oh, yeah, the utility poles are
Are
on
usually
town.
on town property.
Yes, they
So
are.
that's, but even up by you, the utility poles, if you stand back and look at them, they're not that far apart, so
Yeah,
I think there's quite a bit of town property outside of the utility poles.
yeah, they're.
Probably over in the middle of that mound behind,
Practice.
traffic,
Mhm.
you can think of it. I suspect,
Pretty much.
and it's probably right down the middle of that.
It's very humorous stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
I suspect.
Do you, would you like to come up and take the mic?
Well, I just have a quick question.
Sure.
What's your name,
I
sir?
thought you said that the.
What is your name?
My name's Steve Cohen, I live at 20 Heather's Path. And I don't use the dirt road ever, or maybe once or twice a year, okay? And I don't think any of my neighbors use it either, as far as I know. But my question is, did you say that the Carver school bus goes up 10 times a day?
The Carver school bus drives by 8 times a day. Yep, they go down and back.
All right, so, not that I really care, but what, my question would be, I guess, is if Carver were to put in some type of barrier, right, how would the school bus, I mean, obviously the school bus is going through Plympton because it's so easy to come out the other end of Montel.
Right.
So if you put a barrier there, how would they even turn the bus around on such a narrow road?
That's a good question. I didn't realize that the bus was cutting through
Well,
all of
yeah,
Montello.
Yeah,
We had talked about the need for some type of turnaround, because there are gonna be trucks that mistakenly go down that road, and they can't have to back all the way out.
Right.
So there will have to be somewhere, I don't know if it'd be almost like a cul-de-sac or something, where
Right.
people could turn around. I would imagine we'd have to do the
We
same
had
thing
a,
on the Carver side.
We had like a semi-trailer, you know, with a big thing, come down our street, you know, because the guy, you know, was lost and thought he could maybe get out that way, and
Yeah.
of course, couldn't, So it caused a lot of confusion, him trying to turn around. And we have the cul-de-sac, you know, but it's only so wide,
Right.
you know, but, you know, when she was saying that, I'm thinking, well, how would the bus turn around? You know, because I see the mail guy all the time come up through, you know, like past the Dunkin' Donuts and Aubuchon, you know, and he's in that little thing, so it's easy for him to maneuver.
Right.
And he always comes up to the top of Heather's path and kind of spins around and goes back, you know, into, you know, so he doesn't really cross over. But the school buses, I know that I see them going back and forth myself, and you know, I don't, you know, not that I care, that's their problem, but I see that as a big issue.
That could be an
If they bring it
issue.
up on the Carver side, is, well, how would the buses turn around? Because the road, there's just not enough, the road isn't wide enough, you know?
Good
Or
point.
you'd be taking out a lot of property on, like, say, what Gordon's driveway is, Gordon's here, right? They'd have to, you know, probably go into Gordon's driveway, the people next to Gordon, and then, you know, then you go around that big curve. You know, so,
Well, and that's part of the reason why we haven't really pursued paving the
Right.
road either, is because we knew it would be taking some property.
right. And I know the
As a
Plympton
result.
bus, you know, is the same way, that's how we took our kids to school, they come down, had this path, and they go up and bang a left. But the only one who lived there was Bob at the time, so. So that's all just what I.
That's a
was
good
curious
point.
about.
I didn't know the bus was going there, so that's something we'll have to think. Gordon, do you want to come up and
I'm
speak?
familiar with those plans because we're actively involved in arguing, discussing. Carver. But,
Gordon, you're in Plympton, you're not in
In
Carver.
regard to the school bus issue, the plans as they exist now have a big turnaround area for trucks who happen to come in the regular entrance down near Dunkin' Donuts, come up, and there's like a two-pronged thing. There's plenty of room there for trucks to move around, and school buses will be moved around too. But, you know, I understand dust, I understand potholes, but we also have to understand traffic. And it's not just trucks. If the industrial park comes to fruition, there are gonna be hundreds of people working there, and we have to expect that some of them are gonna come from the north. And they're gonna have the choice of going down Route 58, stopping at the stoplight at a Tractor Supply. There will definitely be a stoplight there outside the Dunkin' Donuts, that they're gonna have that. And hey, it's a lot easier to go on Montello Street, so there could be 400, 500 cars a day going up and down Montello Street. And as a person who knows Montello Street very well, because I walk it every day, a couple of times a day, I know every pothole, every nook and cranny, that would be far worse. And I think that you're taking a wise approach. And secondly, I think that we could try to be more proactive, I think, to try to get that thing in place. Because we argued long and hard at various meetings about what we were gonna do about that, and came up with a gate idea, a terrific idea. But you know, I'm not so sure that gate idea made it in the plans that went to the developer.
All right, I can follow up on that, Gordon. Anybody else want to get up and talk?
Rob Kirkland, 20 Montello Road. I just want to say about the potholes in the road now. We've been there, well, going on 19 years. When there's more potholes, people drive slower, there's less dust. So the smooth, this is as smooth in the last 2 years as it's ever been. You've done a phenomenal job keeping the potholes down, but it does make a big difference in the dust. So, you know, it's like you want the potholes gone, but you don't want the dust. You get one or the other.
Catch
And,
22.
Right now, I think you guys are doing the right thing, just taking your time and making sure that it isn't gonna be a direct route to this industrial park. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone
Can
else?
I just add one question?
Sure.
I recently tried to take a look, ever since they put the Dunkin' Donuts there, obviously there's a lot more traffic, and now that they built the New England Farms across the street, with the traffic coming off the highway, I recently tried to take a left and ended up getting hit by somebody. They're gonna, at some point, I would almost think that they're gonna have to put a stoplight, like a red light there, because it's really, the traffic is heavy. And I know before we've complained about the people taking a right, you know, coming from the north, heading south on 58, how they just fly right across the end of Montello into the Dunkin' Donuts as we're trying to come around the turn.
Right.
And I think once if they put a stops light there, exactly what Gordon said, everybody's gonna come, they're not gonna wanna wait at that light, because the traffic will back up, and they'll start realizing that they can take a right on Montello and circumvent the light. Or at least, you know, especially if there's gonna be an industrial park back there and they're trying to get to work. So that's the other thing too, that I think could happen. Because I can't imagine how they could have no light there, have this big industrial park with all these cars and trucks coming, and not have a light there. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, they're doing traffic studies now, and Old Colony Planning Council has been very active on our behalf. We got the traffic area of the study expanded because what the developer had proposed we didn't think was adequate, because we think a lot of people are going to be coming from the north. So they expanded the area for the study, and I can't imagine it's not going to come back with a designated turn lane,
Right.
lights, and I just don't see the space there, but that's, yeah, there's got to be something done. But I don't know if anything will be done. It is, it's very dangerous. It is, it taking a left out of there is very dicey.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. You know, I tried to cross, and the guy coming from the north went, you know, he basically went right over the double lines to go past me. And it turned, I mean, the guy hit the right side of my car, and I'm taking a left, so that'll tell you.
Well, yeah, you have people
He
taking
didn't
the
hit me
left
on the
into
left side.
Dunkin's and then going around
He hit the left side of
them.
my car, he
Yeah.
hit the right side of my car.
Crazy.
Right.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Did anyone else want to speak?
One more there.
Marvin Callahan, up 10 Hills Path. As far as the buses, I know when my kids were going to school, the Carver bus would go to Montello and they would back into Hills Path and head back down towards Montello, towards Carver. So I think it's probably the bus driver's decision that they go in for Montello
Okay.
because it's easier. And also, being a resident of Heather's Path, I'll tell you right now, when it's nice and graded and it's nice and smooth, I will take that left, because it's easy. You know, so just think of that, you know, if it's nice and smooth and there's no potholes, more and more people will go down that road. Whereas if you keep it the way it is, to the best of your ability, there'll be less traffic.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Do you want to finish up, Kristen?
Yes, please. So I've listened to what everybody says, and everybody has great points, and I agree with everybody, because it does affect all of us. We all live there together. And one of the things I'm hearing is, if we don't grade the street and we keep it a dirt road, then it'll keep the traffic down. And it keeps the traffic down because it's not nicely graded, and the people of Heather's Path don't want to drive it, and so forth. But that does still leave those of us who can't avoid it in a very difficult predicament, that we still have to drive it, and we still have to live there, and it is difficult. And then one other minor point is, if it was left in the condition that it is, and the traffic does get worse because we don't get a barrier, and we still have a dirt road, people will still go down a potholed street to avoid the crazy light, and we're still gonna have 400 more cars in the street. I don't think that a dirt pothole road is gonna deter it. And that's my opinion, because I watch people go up and down the street, and I agree, when it is smoother, we do have people that drive down it more than we would, so.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Did you guys want to say anything? Okay.
The only thing is, if we pave it before this is all done, I think you've lost any negotiation with Cal. If it's paved, they're gonna do nothing. That's all I need to say, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, very good. So we'll Did you want to say anything?
I don't know.
Did you want to say anything, John?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so thank you all for coming in. We'll continue to work with Carver to look to see if we could do the gate now or have a plan as to when we're going to put that in. Because like I said, we certainly don't want to wait for construction to start for us to get that gate up. And we'll continue to work with Jim to see what we can do to keep the dust down and then look at the potholes. So we hear your pleas. We're going to try to work with you without paving the road, but making it so it's easier for you to travel. All right. Well, thank you all for coming in. Thank you, Jim, very much. Okay, so why don't we go back to the beginning? Since we've done our 2 appointments? What?
Do you want to bring this up in a couple of weeks?
Let's put it on the parking lot.
Okay, because the carpet thing.
Yeah, but I will check on the gate.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Sorry, I only have one copy.
No worries, we'll put it in the file because we've got letters from Jean and
There was 3.
Melissa and another woman that I wasn't familiar with.
Emily?
Emily.
Yes.
Yes, so we'll put a file together and in the event we revisit this, we'll
I just couldn't
Christine's got the file.
articulate in a kind and neighborly fashion.
It's that one.
You bought on a dirt road.
I know.
We've lived there for 19 years, you keep your window shut. And if they pave the road the way the drainage is, it's all gonna go in the backyard, so it's gonna be a new issue.
Yeah, then it'd be worse. Thank you.
So, sorry about it.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Okay, so let's start with board's goals for FY 2018, financial management. Any updates?
Unless Monica has,
Well, Monica said, I actually got an email from her, that she wanted a copy of the extension, and that she thought she'd have our plan done in a couple of weeks. Let me just check here. I hope to have a draft to you by the end of next week. So, good news. Okay, anything else under financial management?
not until I find my thing, so why don't you move on?
Okay, all right, public safety.
The building committee meets a week from now, and we'll go from there.
Okay, technology, I know you've got information on technology.
So, let's start with the grant. We did get some flexibility with the grant in terms of,
Do you want to shut that? Yeah, thank you.
we put in for 49,000 for about 5 items. We got 16,000. We got approved at town meeting, the exchange server and the town clerk software. The grant letter that finally came out referenced the town clerk software. So the question was, could we, since we had already done it at town meeting, could we use the 16,000 towards other things? And that flexibility, I believe, is given to us. What we have to do is monitor the expenses so that we, as the town clerk software gets paid, we have to make sure that any monies that we're not going to use out of that grant for other things goes to that software. That way, the town article, if there's anything left over, goes back into free cash,
Oh, okay.
okay? If we do it the other way, and so we spend, say, $5,000, $10,000, but still have $6,000 left over in the grant account, it goes away.
Okay,
Okay, so we want to make sure, so Barbara's aware of it, she's going to monitor, she set up a file, so I think we're all set.
so we're going to use the grant as the initial funding source?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. The other piece of it is the projector system that we've talked about. I believe they're on the agenda for the 17th.
Okay.
That would be Steve Pello and,
17th, next week.
yeah,
Okay,
and Arcus, I forget the guy's name. So I sent a memo to Steve, I think I carbon copied you, saying that we'd like them to come in and just walk us through how that might work. Okay, so. we'll do
Excellent.
that.
So they're for next week, the 17th.
Yep.
what time do we have them down for?
I think 6 o'clock.
Okay,
Yeah. The other piece is the Exchange server. You may have seen Michael Rodriguez note the server's in-house. Now he's got to go through and configure it, and then we can start going out and saying, okay, everybody, time to sign up for an account.
okay.
And I think that's,
Is that it for,
well,
IT?
the other piece is the assessors software. We talked about the Potomac.
oh, yes.
But I think that just goes on hold. We can't do that out of the grant money. The hope was that we could, but basically the flexibility they gave us was you, in the application that you made for 49,000, we're willing to give you some leeway, but don't step outside that.
Yeah, don't add anything
Yeah,
new.
yeah.
Okay. I had asked Old Colony Planning Council if there was any grant money available for that project, and there wasn't, but they thought that the group that had originally applied, I think it was maybe 5 or 6 towns,
Yes,
that they may do that again. So they were gonna let me know if something was gonna happen where we might be able to, piggyback on that.
That'd be great.
And see if we could become part of the application.
I have excuse me. So what you were talking about with the grant
yes.
money, we did get that from Michael. So will that go towards that? I brought it in with me today.
I think what you want to do is pass this by Barbara first.
Okay,
Okay, she's going to monitor how we use that.
okay.
Okay, that's the Exchange server invoice for 7,400.
Terrific.
Great, thank you.
Okay, anything on volunteerism? Any updates?
Not really, no.
Okay, I don't either. Do
We
you have
need
anything?
help.
Yeah, we definitely
Please.
need help.
And grants, we just talked about. Any other grants that we've got an update on?
No. See that lady over there? Any information from your acquaintance?
When you want to use her, we'll just give her a call.
Oh, okay, is that the,
Her classes start again in the fall,
okay.
so if you want to get in on something, the possibility of something free, I would,
Would she be willing to come in and just chat with us a little bit?
I have no idea.
Can we reach
The Board
out?
of Selectmen would have to give her a call.
Okay. Do you want to email me her contact information?
Yeah.
And I'll reach out to her. I mean, even if she could point us in the direction of sites where we can find grants that we can apply for, just any information, I think would be extremely helpful.
I think if you can get some of her students to do a project, it would be great. And it's a pretty fast turnaround. I think they're like 6-week courses or something.
Yeah,
And, maybe come up with some ideas that you want grant money for, and if it, catches anybody's fancy, then they'll fly with it.
Okay.
This seems like one of those ones that were unique and small, and especially for students writing up a project, this would be pretty cogent kind of
It would,
cool
yeah.
project.
Okay. All right, so I'll reach out and see if she'd want to come in and talk to us, or?
Sure.
Perfect.
Send
Okay.
me the stuff.
Excellent, thank you so much. Okay, so updates and discussions. First is the town administrator. First, we've got Mark's report on his reference checks with the consultants, town administrator consultants.
Yep, so I checked the references in all 3 of the firms that we're considering, and pretty much every single person I spoke to spoke well of the people they use. I asked each of them and probed a little bit for any negatives or any downsides, and there really was very little. Everyone was quite satisfied. in general, if there was a sort of a theme, people were relatively pleased with Collins' group, content with what happened, as versus the people that used MRI and Community Paradigm, who were almost uniformly incredibly enthusiastic. So it wasn't that Collins wasn't good and that people weren't happy with it. It's just the other two firms, people were really pretty exuberant about them. The only downside thing I really heard is from 2 or 3 or maybe 4 people. There was mention that Collins Group stuff seemed kind of cookie cutter, whereas they felt like MRI and Bernie at Community Paradigm really was individualizing their work for them. Between the two, MRI and Bernie, if I heard a theme there, it was that MRI is just quintessentially professional. I mean, just get that job done and get it done well. The thing that I heard over and over again about Bernie is the degree of Community Paradigm, the degree to which he's a matchmaker, the degree to which he knows everybody. The term Godfather came up a couple times. He's just got his hands on, fingers on exactly what's going on in the state. And a few of the people that kind of know the goings on with all of this were quite impressed with Bernie at that level and felt that although MRI was very professional, that their draw was a little bit more national and a little out of the immediate range. So I ended up with some opinions, but I really just wanted to start with the report, and I shared with you all the references, with my notes on the references.
All right.
Well, we got 3 good candidates.
We have 3 excellent candidates.
I read all your references, and I think any one of them do well. I guess I'm sort of gravitating towards MRI for a couple of reasons. One is it seems to me we need to professionalize this, how we go forward, and I think they can help us with that. I think whether it's Bernie, Community Paradigm, or Management Resources, we will probably get to a good endpoint. MRI is also one of the 4 participants in the fire proposal. And while that shouldn't sway us, it'd be nice if it made sense to do. They're going to learn a lot about the town going through this. So I'm between Community Paradigm and Management Resources. I guess I would gravitate towards MRI unless somebody can give me a good reason not to.
Well, I would gravitate toward Paradigm.
Okay.
I really liked his approach. I think he is extremely experienced, and the cost was significantly less than the other 2, and I thought he was outstanding.
I'm not sure that I'm not sure he's got all the costs built in that it would take, but on the other hand, even if we built in a couple of thousand more, he's still significantly lower.
Less, exactly.
Well, having spoken to the first 2, or references for the first 2, Collins and MRI, was very content that with MRI. I was shocked when I spoke to the people with Bernie's Community Paradigm. I mean, they were just exuberant about him. Couldn't go wrong, best choice, Bernie's your man. I don't know, maybe those are just exuberant people that I resonated with. I did like that it was cost less. I really did like that he's got the handle on who's around and everything that's going on in the state. And I think being in the next town in Plymouth is actually a plus as well. I would be totally content with either one. If we don't end up with a really excellent candidate, it won't be because of this decision, because I can't believe the skill and talent that we have available for us. So I'm totally content with either one of those two. I suppose I'm
Really?
leaning a touch more to Paradigm, but really, either way, it'd be fine with me.
Then let's do Paradigm. If
I
you-
think they're both really good choices, really. I don't think we could go wrong with either. All right, you want to go with Paradigm? Okay, I'll make a motion that we go. Did you want to say anything, Colleen?
No, between, excuse me, MRI and Paradigm would be my choice. MRI did not seem to want to involve the community, and I think that's very important to us.
You know, one thing everybody did said on both of those organizations is they'll listen to you, and it's up to us to sort of tell them what we're looking for, what we need, how we want it done to some extent. And if a part of what we're looking for that we sort of resonated with Collins was the process and drawing people in, I think emphasizing to Bernie that this is new for us and there may be a little resistance and we need to get buy-in along the way. Everyone said he's totally capable of doing that.
Yeah, I think the next step is to sit down with him and make sure we've got a clear understanding of what the deliverables are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, we want the right person, but we want the setup for a
Right.
chance for success.
and we want to make
Absolutely.
sure that we get buy-in from all the different constituencies that are out there.
All right,
Cool.
excellent. All right, I'll make a motion that we go with Paradigm as,
Can I just word it to, that we begin negotiations with Paradigm?
oh, sure.
Yeah.
All right, that we begin negotiations with Paradigm to offer their services as our town administrator consultant, to work with the town as our consultant in the search for a town administrator, search and
Second.
filling the position.
Second there?
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, all in favor?
Aye. Beautiful. I think the other thing, actually, sort of unintended, which is good, is we're getting deep enough into the summer that by the time we start the search, we'll be past the summer lull, which is probably good.
Probably a
We're
good
going to
thing.
have people come out of the woodwork. There's going to be a lot of people who want this.
Yeah?
I hope so, I hope so. I think it's gonna be fun. Got our work cut out for us. All right, so we did that one. Fire and EMS retirement update from town council.
Okay, basically, we went out to town council because we had got a opinion that fire personnel had to retire at 65. Question came up when one of the EMS technicians hit 65, was actually over 65, that a decision was made, well, that was covered by fire. We went to legal, legal said no. In fact, they said there's no.
There's nothing.
Right. So I talked to Warren, Fire Chief Warren Basari, and he's going to reach out to that person to say, hey, we got our information wrong. And then it'll be up to that person whether or not they want to, okay? And it would seem like they can stay until they physically unable to perform the job. And that's really what he'll have to monitor.
Okay,
So, does that make sense? That's where we are.
makes perfect sense. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a dog complaint we received from Frank Bush regarding German Shepherd dogs at Mayflower Road. And I don't know if you've had a chance to read Frank's report.
That's what we just did, right?
Right, that's what we just did, yeah. But, you know, based on the images we saw of the bite, to me, it looked pretty serious, and I think it warrants a dog hearing to determine if the dog's a dangerous dog.
Don't we need the step of the animal control officer declaring the dog a nuisance?
I'm not sure.
Well, we don't even know which dog it is. That's part of the
Yeah,
problem.
there was 3 dogs.
We have the bylaws there?
I do have the bylaws.
I don't know if I can dig it out.
Yeah,
again.
I don't know.
I think generally that feels like a step. I mean, I'm wondering if we don't have to go through the other step that we dealt with in executive session as a first piece in this and see where that goes.
Yeah, the quarantine, uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Section 10, for example.
Thank you.
Disturbing the peace. Any person shall make a complaint in writing to the animal control officer. And then the animal control officer investigates and submits a written report to the selectmen.
Okay, so he did get a complaint. He investigated. But he, I don't think he provided us with findings. Shall investigate.
Yeah, findings and submit a written report to the selectmen of his findings and recommendations.
Okay, all right.
And then upon receipt, the selectmen may call a hearing.
Okay, all right, so let's, I don't think Frank's report says anything about findings.
I mean, the other piece in this to keep in mind, albeit the injuries were pretty severe, is apparently the person who was bitten was on the owner's land, and it's a little bit different than.
Do we know that for sure?
I think it was implied in the reports.
Yeah, it
we
was
have.
implied that they were there for some real estate purpose, taking pictures. Okay, yeah, so Frank's report is just a, basically a timeline of actions taken. So why don't I ask him to put together a report for us and have it to us next week, and then we'll make a decision after we do that?
So I suppose, well, we'll be aware the report may not be able to be inclusive or conclusive, and I think on that basis, then we could decide if we want to pursue it. Would be a chance to get the people in and have a conversation.
Absolutely.
When I asked, to interrupt, I asked Frank for the report, that's what he submitted.
Okay, the timeline.
That was the timeline.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else he's gonna say. I mean, again, if we don't know, we can't even say those 3 dogs are actually the dogs. It certainly seems that way, but I'm not sure where do we go with this?
I mean, having that hearing, I suppose, offers the potential of at least having the discussion and putting people on alert.
Okay, okay.
I just don't think we can do nothing.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, we're gonna-
somebody was bitten.
We are gonna go for a warrant. We are gonna try to go,
Right, but that's just to quarantine the dogs for the rabies. That's
Right.
nothing that any type of impact from what the dog did.
but that's my point. We don't know that dog did anything.
Well, don't we know one of the 3 dogs?
No.
No, don't.
No.
Or they're claiming there isn't any of the 3.
Well, then, Frank needs to do an investigation, but what if he comes back and says it's indeterminate?
Yeah, well, and I think that's the possibility. And I think if he comes back and says he cannot determine whether one of those dogs was affected, then it leaves us with the opportunity, if we want, to invite the people in to at least have more of a conversation.
Right,
Especially if they're not cooperative.
right. Well, I would think that even though the dogs may look similar, I would think he may be able to identify if he saw images of the dog that bit him. Maybe,
Mr. Egan?
Mr. Egan.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
Those shepherd dogs, when they're biting,
Yeah, all you
all
see
look
is
pretty
white.
similar.
Okay. All right, well, why don't we cross that bridge when we come to it then?
Okay.
So first, we'll ask Frank for a report, Bree, and we need him to come up with some findings.
So request a
Findings and
final report.
recommendations.
Findings and recommendations, not just the timeline. And see if we can have it by Wednesday of this week, so we know whether we can put it on the agenda. And if he has it done, then we'll put it on the agenda.
We have
May I just speak to something that I've been working on your behalf? then I can leave, which is the easement. Basically, I've kind of ignored it for a month, but I do have a next to final draft from the lawyer. There were a couple, there was basically one question and then 3 corrections, which I sent back to her, so I expect that that will be happening fairly soon. I just wanted to keep you updated.
Well, thank you, Colleen. You could have got in with public safety early on and got out of here early.
Well, that's all right. I'll hear about the dog stuff.
You didn't want to
Thanks.
stay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna hold the dog. We did the IT upgrade from DOR.
Excuse me, when you mean to put it on to the next agenda, just to read Frank's final report?
Right.
Then a dog hearing?
Right, and then determine whether or not, what the
Then
next
it has
step
to
would
go
be.
through those steps. Okay,
Right.
great.
Okay, do we have any more appointments to make?
I have John's, the projector presentation that would be
No,
done.
annual appointments.
No, that is going very well.
Okay,
We have a letter, though, right, from the zoning officer about one of the appointments?
is that in correspondence?
Maybe, I don't know.
You?
It wasn't in correspondence.
You go ahead, I'll come back
I mean,
to see if I
that's-
can find it.
More of a,
Yeah.
I think I briefly read it. It was a concern about an appointment?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
and I think it was just bringing up that point, and whether it's up to us and whether we want to take any further action.
Well, we never discussed it, other than to make appointments. I mean, I think the question is being raised that Conservation Committee has not had meetings because there hasn't been a quorum, and it's causing a lot of consternation.
Oh,
I think-
Was that?
That's not what I'm,
Yeah,
Okay,
that-
then maybe I've got it
referring-
wrong.
I know those words have been said along the way, but I don't think it was in the form of a sort of a formal email or letter. And I mean, I think that's the same problem we've been having with planning, or it's more with
no,
planning.
this was not the appointment on Bob. Yeah, it was more of a planning issue, but I think it's really more widespread than that. It's, a lot of committees have issues meeting because they don't have quorums.
Yeah, but there's a lot of heartache in this one.
Oh,
Would
I mean, we well know that particularly Concom and planning, that the risk of inaction is the passage of stuff that we don't.
Right.
Or permitting of stuff that we don't want permitted.
Yeah, but it's also, that, we have people who are trying to build houses who are basically just being pushed off. And the builders are walking away, saying, hey, we got other things we want to do with our time.
Okay, so that's sort of a different question than the one that we sort of
yeah,
handled.
I
I'm
have gotten it?
thinking
I
it
don't
was
know,
a
I'm
different
looking for
one.
it. I know somewhere I got a letter.
All right. Well, do you want to keep looking and we'll move on? Okay. All right, so we don't need to make any updates. Here's, we have made all of the annual updates, or annual appointments.
So this transition update on town administrator does that include sort of the transition on our town coordinator, which if it's under that umbrella, might be a couple things we need to
Okay.
talk about. I mean, we've made the transition with Dale's last week or the week before. Now, we ended up with his keys somewhere.
I
You
have his
have.
keys to the front door and his office and the computer, the laptop.
Okay.
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 solar stuff that he handed off to me, we're trying to move ahead on. I did speak to the representative of the solar company, who's very anxious to get this done with. He's away late in July, and so am I, and I made clear to him that we were kind of anxious to just get it off our plates as well. So we're all kind of primed there, albeit we're in the middle of lawyers back and forth with very lawyerly sub-clauses.
Yeah, but you saw
Deb Stewart's
Deb Stewart's.
email?
Yeah.
Quite frankly, I couldn't figure out.
Well, I don't understand that. I was supposed to meet with our town council issue on this afternoon, and I sent that to him, and he said, I better read this. And I don't know how complicated that's all gonna get, but we're trying to move that along. I think it's gonna get all snagged up for a while, but trying to move it along.
I just don't want to approve anything until we understand what the ramification
Right.
is.
No, I agree. All that's been, there's a year's worth of back and forth on
Right.
the attorneys. And
Right.
so we want to get it right, and we want to do well by the town, and we don't want it to just simmer forever. So
Right.
I'll just keep plugging away as best I can and make it happen. And then the only other issue I had, I think, was Dale's email and how we're moving forward with checking that.
What was that?
The email,
Checking Dale's email?
I sent a note to Michael Rodriguez. He said he wasn't even aware of it. So
okay. Or the lost stuff, you mean, or
the fact that he couldn't access
yeah.
the emails before April.
Yeah, no, and I saw that.
Okay.
I mean, going forward, dividing up the responsibilities, you, I, Bree, on checking his email.
You know, I went into his email over the weekend. There's nothing there.
Okay,
I
good,
mean,
great.
Well, could he set it up so it's forwarded to both of you? So you don't have to actually come here to check his email? Or
Forward it
three
to
of
Bree?
you? Forward it to Bree, and then Bree can send it to you guys, rather than having to get into his computer?
I can just walk across the hall and
Okay.
turn it on, and
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what we kind of thought that we
Yeah,
would do anyway.
that
makes a
just
lot
check
more
it
sense.
Well, then why don't you
here.
just keep it in your office? Why would you have to walk
could
across the
do it.
hall?
Oh,
It's a
I'd
laptop,
have to
right?
put that laptop on yeah.
Okay,
I don't
all right.
mind going
Okay.
in.
no, you'd rather check it on the computer. He's got,
It's just
Not the
everything can
laptop.
come off the content.
Oh, this is a,
it's a standalone.
okay, so you're not using a laptop,
No.
gotcha, okay, okay.
But, so you're willing to do that?
I will open his office every day
Good.
and check the.
Thank you, Bree, that's
You're
awfully
a
kind of you.
saint, or even
I had
whatever.
over 200 emails coming back from vacation.
Yeah, hello.
We
Welcome
gotta go
back.
through and clean that up. I'd almost like to take his emails and just park them, you know, and then let it go post Dale so that I went in and he has no folders. It's just a list of stuff. So
He had
it's-
folders.
if they're there, he's got one, yeah, like 5.
Okay.
I'll sit with you tomorrow, take a look at
Yeah,
it.
we'll
Okay.
go in there. Is this going to-
Anything else on the town administrator?
It's good on that.
Okay, town coordinator, okay. All right, how about correspondence?
We gotta do it.
Okay, where to start?
Well, no, they don't address it tonight.
No, okay,
So-
next time.
There were several emails that I think we probably need to discuss, and maybe we mentioned it already, the assessor's email to us earlier in the day, or we didn't mention it, about Cisco and
Yeah.
the abatement and wanting to hire a specialist in that process. And if I understand this right, she's asking for cost proposals, I think both for an attorney and for an appraisal. And do we maybe need that first before we,
The appraisal first and then the attorney?
or, I mean, just some sense of what kind of expense we're gonna get into? I could imagine the attorney stuff
I
is gonna
think
be
she told me it was
pricey.
gonna be around $30,000.
Yeah, and I'm not sure the appraisal, you know, considering the value, is gonna be pretty incredible too.
We're gonna meet with KP tomorrow, right? And then Rich Bowen on
Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday
Wednesday, I'm
is
sorry,
KP and
Wednesday, you're right,
Wednesday's
you're right.
Rich.
I would suggest we ask both of them how we should proceed,
Okay, good,
okay, and get a feel from them before,
okay,
Okay,
because it is gonna be expensive and we do need technical help.
okay.
okay, so we'll let that sit. This is an email from John Henry to John Trainer, mentioning that water trucks were over at the water truck place after hours, and I think you actually did ask in an email to one of our attorneys what they thought we should do about that, so
Yeah.
maybe we'll wait for a return on that.
So I think we should ask again, Tuesday and Wednesday, that question again, because I feel like I'm not getting a good answer. And I think we owe it to the residents, at least to say, if we can't do anything, to tell them, but there must be something we can do.
There's got to be something. And how many complaints do we have to have before
Right.
we go to arbitration?
Right.
And my concern is that there is something we can do, which is to go back to court, which is, exactly what we don't want to do.
Right.
But it's worth asking, and actually, maybe it's a good sort of chance to see what those two firms, can give us. All right, this is a letter from Nathaniel Sides to the three of us asking for a reference for his application or appointment to the Mass Board of Registration. And John wrote a very nice letter.
Very nice letter.
So, yeah, I wrote it with at first I wrote it, I didn't know, I figured we were gonna discuss it.
Yeah,
So I wrote it first on the idea that I was gonna send it as a citizen. Then I thought, well, no, it probably should come from the selectmen.
yeah.
So if you feel comfortable, I think all three of us should sign it. You sign it as chair and we'll sign it.
I think, all three of us would be good.
Yeah. Would you be willing to rewrite that then, just so it includes the three of us? or-
Oh, sure, I'll
Yeah.
just ask Bree to.
Change I to we.
Exactly.
All right.
I'll see you on
One more email.
I have it as a Word document already.
Yeah,
So rewrite, add name.
Okay.
and we'll put it
Do you
on
need to vote
selectmen.
for that?
The only qualification I would make is, I would not want to be in the business of the selectmen giving references out and making decisions on, but where this is for another board, I think that's much different than a reference, say, for a private job or something like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so I'm just making that qualification.
Okay.
yeah, no, I totally agree.
Me too.
So this is an
Excuse me, so do you have to vote to sign that? That's what I don't.
Do we need a vote?
I'll make a motion
Yeah,
that
okay.
we sign the letter to
The
Nate,
Board
the
of-
board. It's actually not to Nate.
No, it's
do
the
you wanna
Registry
grab it?
Board of Pharmacies.
Yeah, the Registry Board of,
Board of Registry Pharmacies.
let's see. Where is it? Board of Registry in Pharmacy, or Registration in Pharmacy, supporting Nathaniel Sides'
Whatever.
candidacy for the board,
Yep,
the Mass Board of Registration in Pharmacy.
second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 email from Jack O'Leary of Ring Road from, I think, last week, maybe the week before, with concerns about a trailer on a home in Ring Road that's been there for a couple months already, and goes on to say that our bylaws are, only allow that for 2 months.
But again, this is back to the issue of boards not meeting and not being able to proceed. That foundation has sat there for over a month.
It's filled.
I,
Put a house.
Oh, I know, a house is up now, but the point is, I just feel uncomfortable that we're not talking to the board. That is the gate to say,
but I
Which
think.
board? Planning Board?
No, zoning, I think.
zone.
I
or
think,
which one?
I read the bylaws this
Is that
afternoon.
conservation too?
No. The original grant is normally the building department in conjunction with the zoning department, sort of an either or. And it's good, but it can be, for a certain period, it can be extended by an application for a special permit to the ZBA, which has not been submitted.
So what was holding up the house actually being put on that foundation?
I don't know, I drove
Okay,
by it 2
okay.
days later, it was there.
So the point being, or they have a signed document, do they, Bree, that, or they started residing in the trailer? You have a date on that?
I believe that trailer was brought there and put in its spot where it is now on the 13th
Of what?
May. And then she physically went in on June 24th.
So my understanding is that they get 2 months theoretically from
60
June
days.
24th. And my understanding is after 2 months, they can apply for a special permit with zoning board of appeals. So
Right.
it seems like that's the next step.
Well, I
for
don't know if
them.
it's from June 24th or May 13th.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I would think it's from, not when they took occupancy, when the trailer was here.
Yeah, exactly, because how do you know when they took
Right.
the occupancy?
They waited for school.
Yeah. Oh, I don't doubt it, but
Yeah, I think it's
it's just indicative of
May.
some issues we're having with making sure, boards are doing the right thing. And that, in a sense, we're clued in, because when the residents come in, they come to us.
So I guess she went to the building, she's gone to health, the Board of Health, and then she came to us.
Who's she?
Nicole
The
Walton,
the resident?
yes.
How do you spell the last name, Bree?
Walton.
Great, thanks.
Oh, I used to know
And
the
it's-
mobile home one. Oh, here it is. Yeah, I went right to it. All right, no mobile home or trailer should be set upon private property in any district for use as a dwelling, storage, sales, or office space for a period of more than 60 days, except as authorized by special permit. So shall be set upon private property. So that seems like May. So they need to get a special permit if they need to keep the trailer there then. Otherwise, the trailer needs to go.
She was here this evening,
Okay,
and she went to Bob's in planning,
okay,
and Kathy wasn't in yet, and Tom wasn't here, but they're all aware of it. They put
Okay.
the file out, so
Okay.
they have it.
all right. Ken, did you have something you wanted to?
For the record, I've had conversations with both the zoning officer and the building inspector, and they're trying to work this out. Otherwise, we'll get an application from which I've asked them to help us with the criteria by which the building department grants trailers waiting construction of a house, not unlike a fire.
Right.
These insurance, it was 6 months, or 6 months. I mean, they're not gonna be living in that house in 60 more days. But the ZBA is gonna need some direction from the building department on what is reasonable, allowed, and is
Okay.
I know she has a septic well permit, the septic, the well,
Okay,
and then I guess they're putting a modular home, so they have the plans on that
Okay.
layout. And it's, a lot of it is pending the house sale and
The modular home is up.
no, that's the one next to her. There's 3 lots there.
Oh, okay, who are we talking about?
This is the one that's on the corner with the barn.
And that's not the one with the foundation and the modular
No, the
home?
I guess that, she's
Um,
the one with the barn, and behind the barn is the,
I thought she was with the modular home, because otherwise, they're not even within 6 months of being out of that trailer.
so the other one is,
I'd have
I
to
guess
look
that
at
was
the
delivered over the
plot.
weekend, from what I understand. They brought that modular home in
Oh,
over
yeah,
there.
Thursday,
It was
Friday,
out
boom,
there.
boom.
okay,
I don't know how long the foundation.
I'll look on the assessment, but, we have await an application for. a
Okay.
special
so you guys are on it. Very good.
This is from the Department of Public Utilities letting us know that Eversource and a subsidiary is applying for rate increases of 7% to 20% and public hearings that are available.
Oh, man, won't it be nice when we get that electric, what is it called? The aggregation.
Aggregation, and we
Yeah,
all
and
save
that's in-
$60 a month?
It's in the
I
works.
think more than that will probably go into
Yep.
that. In any event, there are public hearings around the state if
Okay.
anyone's
Can I ask you a question? Where we end up on Rocky Harvest?
We're gonna talk to council about it tomorrow.
Okay, okay.
A letter from South Shore Community Action Council, they have a new CEO.
Excuse me, back on the Eversource, Tara wanted to
Sure.
know if you wanted that put on Plympton Helping Plympton. There's a little note on the bottom.
The hearing notice?
Um,
Sure.
Can't
If
hurt.
somebody
Right.
wants to do,
People
Sure.
can go to the hearings if they want.
Yeah, absolutely.
she said where it was to do.
Vendor warrants paid, custodial supply 163, Eversource 67, Columbia Gas 204, Pitney Bowes 143, Travelers Cab at Risk 100, Plimpton Post Office 225, EBS Copier 680, Whitman Communications 100, Cook and Company Workman's Comp $35,600. That's the letter from Jack O'Leary. Town of Halifax is looking for sealer of weights and measures. Annual salary $2,500. Can apply to Board of Selectmen in Halifax. This is a request for proposals from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Office of Leasing and State Office Planning. They'd like to lease space in this town or near towns. They need 8,000 square feet for client service and administrative offices. I don't know, could we lease out Dale's office? No, I guess not.
How about the whole townhouse?
It's sorry. That's done. That's done. That one's done. A letter from MRI, I guess we should just hold off a little until we talk to a little more to Bernie and make sure we're okay before we speak to them. They were just asking for an update on where we're
Yeah,
at.
I'm sure, and I told
Collins Center was too.
Collins Center that we would be making a decision about this time, so I'm sure both of them. I don't think it would hurt to go back to either of them and say, at least preliminary, based on future negotiations, it looks like we're gonna go with community paradigm.
But it's not
think that's-
finalized,
yeah.
yeah.
For
I think
sure,
that's
it's not,
fair.
right. That
Yep.
takes them off the,
Who's gonna let them know?
I'll do it if you don't.
Okay, that would be great.
Thank you. This is Massachusetts Office of Disability. It's a presentation on regulations for architectural access. I don't see a date here. Sometime in the fall, or September 26th, 27th, if anyone's interested.
Thank you.
Police Department, Officer Ronald Clark service weapon. The police department traditionally have transferred the service weapon to members who are honorably retiring from the department, and so Chief Dillon is asking for requests for us to vote to allow him to transfer ownership of the Glock Model 22. He notes that Officer Ronald Clark has been retiring after 17 years of honorable service.
Wow, that's terrific.
So I guess we need or I'll make a motion that we instruct the chief to transfer ownership.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
What?
What's that?
Used to be a gold watch.
Yeah, now it's your weapon.
Not much in the newspaper. From 2 weeks ago, good headline, 4th of July in Halifax begins on the 1st. They noted the things that we were up to. That's a good headline.
That is a great
Well done.
headline.
Did you write that?
That's all Deb on the headline. I just write the stories.
Center pages are all a Girl Scout celebration and bridging ceremony at Harry Jason Park, and a lot of wonderful pictures by Karen Foy, and Karen does a lot of wonderful
She
work
does.
for the Girl Scouts, and really well done stuff, and some notations on how people that want to pursue joining can do that. From the more recent one, lots about ticks. and a notation that the tax bills have been mailed. Those are two separate entities. Sorry.
Oh, my God.
And with great pleasure do I report that that completes
I have one, too.
correspondence.
Okay, what do you have, John?
Just an update, the fire clerk job description, Tara's gonna be posting that out here on the wall, and also we have on our website now a note that says employment. You can click on it and it'll take you right to it.
Excellent.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's good.
Could we ultimately do one of those about volunteers?
Sure, yes, and Tara and I have talked about it, it's just that events keep overtaking us, you
Sure,
know? She's
yeah.
had the election and
Yeah.
then the thing, so, but yes. Just an update, the library got problems with some of the branches from the trees. Bill Hayes, nice, he said he'd go in and trim them, so.
That was
Nice
nice.
job,
Thank you, Bill.
yeah, yes. Legal counsel, we're gonna be meeting with the two different firms. I think the note we got for Rich Bowen on how to proceed with the, kind of the bills, et cetera, was exactly what we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm,
Well, and
I'm
we
looking-
have a note from Greg Corbo that they are working on getting that for us.
great.
Huh.
Meeting tomorrow. I have requested into accounting to get the billing information you requested, and he'll give us a status report. And he's gonna talk to us about Rocky.
Yep. Okay.
Perfect.
I think I'm
I
up to
think
date.
we have a hand up
Okay,
in the
Ken.
audience.
I guess I have three quick questions, and depending on the answers. I see that tomorrow's meeting is an open meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Is it implied to do with, specific stuff now, or relationships and rates and long-term and whatever, and not specific things in the hopper this week?
Not specific stuff in the hopper.
Okay, because there are, and I mean, it's, for some reason, we'll go a year and we won't have a hearing. We got 3 applicants and 5 hearings in 1 week.
Wow.
And so we are looking for some guidance on some of them, but we're in a bit of a scheduling nightmare and quandary, which is how to get these done. And so I need some advice, and I posed this earlier, which is, where are we with who, and when do we get more than one opinion, whether it means to be at the hearings and represent us, and whether it's one person or multiple persons. But we have some scheduling things that have resulted from some transactions that have happened in the past 2 months that we're trying to live up to. And as you know, our tiny town of volunteers does things in first and second gear and not third and fourth and order. So there is an issue specifically about scheduling, which has to get nailed down like this week. So my first question was, and I inferred that tomorrow night was not the place to get into this, but I need, and I don't hesitate to pick up the phone for one call, but beyond one call, I ask for permission for a block of time. I think we already have it with the representation of this 3-part, 1 applicant case, but this has evolved over weeks and months, and it's already out of our protocol. And so discussions between attorneys, ours and theirs, are happening, which things are being construed, which then affect the dates, which our little band of merry men have trouble meeting short deadlines. And at some point, I'd like to present to the board, whether it's here or private or some other time, how long it takes to book a hearing. And it's 27 to 31 days from the day we get the application. And I sort of herded it out. I didn't do a PowerPoint. And I got to a calendar, And I started with the in-hopper from this week. And so we're having a meeting on Thursday. And the problem is the weekly cycle. We can only submit ads on Mondays. They only come out on Fridays. So anytime you meet after Monday, you're up to 6 days away from the next ability to advertise. And then you have the automatic 4 days till it's published. So we have like 6-day, 10-day, week-long waits to get us to where we're ability to do things that are like within days of things that normally happen. But in this case, new council has, what do I want to say, accepted letters that are been deemed to substitute for an application, which in our parlance and practice starts the clock. And so we have a problem with who's starting the clock. And we have instructions to have a hearing by a date that we can't meet. We might actually get within 1 or 2 days, but legally we may give up because we were unaware that that practice was happening, and that we were faced with this kind of a scramble that was beyond our normal scramble.
So what specifically are you asking for?
Some time with town council, and if it changes, let me know, and if
Okay.
it's 2 people
But-
instead of 1.
Okay, but normally you would submit a form that we have
Well,
asking,
that's the problem, and I've done it, but we already,
well,
the
why,
guy's already writing us the letters, handling the case, doing the billing, and I don't know where I'm jumping in the middle to have a conversation with him.
well, you got time, right?
Pardon me?
You've been given time, haven't you?
Way back, I think we got a
Have you
little-
used it?
Yeah. Somebody asked Craig, I mean, borderline, phone call, yes, I can do.
No, but I mean, if you haven't used the time, keep going.
Right, and I will, but at some point, as I understand your sort of, sort of looking at council and guidance and whatever, we got stuff in the chute that is,
Well, maybe we should put this on for next meeting, the 17th.
I'm just asking for direction, which is, do this, or do that, or don't do this.
But I don't understand the problem without you coming in and giving us a little more information. And you've got some papers there, so maybe we can do that next Monday.
So in the immediate, though, you said there are some issues for this week. Do you have time that we've authorized left to answer these questions?
Yeah, I mean, I can make a call, and I just want to make sure I'm calling the right people, and not the right people, and
Who are you calling?
the right number of them, Greg.
Yeah, Greg Corbo.
He's the right guy.
He's the right guy.
And that's what I'm operating under.
Okay.
But we'll have to talk someday about how we're communicating.
Well, the next 2 days, we're meeting with both legal counsels, and hopefully we'll have a little more direction for you after that.
Okay, and the reason is I've got a ZBA meeting on Thursday to try to book out these 5 hearings, 3 for 1 applicant, where we've been told that it has to be no later than X, and we weren't part of setting X.
Well, I
So
guess you could-
hopefully that question can get answered this week.
By council this week.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So that-
Probably tomorrow morning, so hopefully tomorrow night you can say.
Okay.
What's the answer to Ken's question? Thank you.
So don't need more time? I have.
No, I think he's
No,
outside.
no,
He's
he's-
good point,
This
Scott.
time, I need more information than
Okay. All right, so, dates to remember. Our next meeting is 7/17 at 6 PM, and I believe we've got.
Actually, our next meeting's tomorrow night.
Okay, our next regular meeting is 7/17, and we're meeting with the people that talked to us about the whiteboards and technology.
Yep.
At 6. Then 7:24, followed by 7:31. Other meetings we have this week, we're meeting on the 11th, tomorrow at 6 PM with KP Law to discuss legal services, and then with Attorney Rich Bowen the following evening at 6 to discuss the same. We've got a meeting with the bylaw review committee on 8/3 at 7:30 PM. And then there is a public safety, is it still building committee or just public safety? Public safety building committee on 7/19 at 6 PM. So
Are you
on
attending
to,
that one?
what?
Are you attending the 7:20?
No, I think Mark might
7:19?
be.
What's that?
The
The
public
7:19,
safety?
no, I'll miss that, but I will listen to the recording and report
And then he'll
back.
report back. Okay, perfect.
On tomorrow's meeting, I have to leave at 5 minutes of 7.
Okay, no
You have
worries.
to leave what?
At 5 minutes of 7, I will walk out. so-
Okay, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, let's be done by then.
Yeah, that's what I'm,
Let's be done.
yeah.
Okay, so we've got minutes from 6:19 and 6:26, and then executive session from 6:26. And then we will be current?
We have those,
Yeah, they're in your packet, I believe, aren't they?
7:19 was already given to you, but then you wanted it.
6:19, yeah,
6:19.
yeah. Yeah, I
So
read 6:19.
I have
and
nothing on 6:19.
I didn't have anything on 6:19.
So when did we get this?
Do you want a copy? And we can do it
They
next
were
week?
emailed a while back.
Email, and I gave you a hard copy last week.
This
and
is
that's- I
Montello,
just-
right?
That's on Montello Street.
Okay, fine.
Here's a copy for you.
Okay,
I don't have a problem
okay.
with it.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of 6:19 as written.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's 6:19.
6:26 is
6:26.
pending.
Okay, so we don't have 6:26, we'll hold that for next week. All right, and then we had the executive session minutes, and it was just Mark and I in attendance. And all I had was a couple little typos.
No.
Yeah,
I don't believe it.
yeah. Center Street, Swenner Street.
Oh, okay.
There was another one too.
Damn.
I know,
You know,
man.
the spell check doesn't do titles.
All right.
I'm gonna blame spell check for
Yeah.
everything.
I can see.
Swenner, maybe that was it.
That's the only one I saw, actually.
Thought there was one more, but that's, okay. All right, so I'll make a motion that we accept the executive session minutes from June 26 as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
I'll abstain.
Okay, and Mark is or John's abstaining.
And I will get that to you, Tara, Bree.
Great, perfect. Okay, so we'll have 6:26 and then 7:10 minutes
Yes.
next week.
And then-
Okay,
Just a little item question.
And
I can
executive
do
session
Thursday.
too.
yeah, an executive session.
I do have a question. You don't want tomorrow and
They don't need to be
Wednesday filmed?
videotaped, no.
Okay.
No.
And are you working on, I know at one time you guys asked about meetings being taped.
We were gonna hold that until the fall.
Fall, okay.
Till we got,
What's
actually, we were gonna hold it till we got a town
July.
administrator in place, I believe.
What was
Having
the, oh, other meetings.
all other
oh,
meetings
oh,
found.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, so now it's a town administrator.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be after July 1st, after the boards and committees.
No,
were formed.
we didn't have enough buy-in.
Okay, okay, okay.
we're working on it. Okay, so we're down to rants and raves. All right,
Okay.
you wanna go first?
Sure. So I got a historical rave for a little piece of Plympton. So you gotta go back July 11th, 1700.
A little before my time.
So Mary, John Bryant and Mary West get married in Plympton, okay? And it's now July 11th, 1775. And they're gonna have their 75th anniversary celebration, okay? So at this, in the spring of 1775, we have Concord and Lexington battle, Bunker Hill, and the celebration is kind of going on hold. Samuel Adams comes to Plympton because he wants to form a unit for his Sons of Liberty, but he's afraid he won't have a lot of people around. So he sees an opportunity, he sends out his people that are with him, his riders throughout the town, and of course it's all farms, that there's going to be an anniversary celebration for James and Mary Bryant. So on July 11th, 1775, on Plympton Green, with John and Mary Bryant as the guest of honor, Samuel Adams gives a patriotic speech about how, you know, everybody should be joining the revolution.
How cool is that?
Yeah, so
Wow.
That's my rave for a little bit of
Awesome.
the Plympton history.
Yeah, on this day in history tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Very good. All right, my rave is just the great opportunity the town administrator, how exciting a time this is, you know? Working together with the town cooperatively and a consultant to try to bring in someone that can help us run more efficiently and serve the townspeople more efficiently and effectively. That it's just a really exciting time. There's a lot of really neat stuff going on in Plympton right now, and
Yep.
I'm just real excited to be part of it.
All the right things are happening. Not sure how it's all gonna pan out, but all the right things are happening.
You know, I think my rave is the discussion with the Montello citizens earlier this evening on the other street. Is difference of opinion, but everyone presented their well thought out opinions, and everyone seemed, the two sides seemed pretty empathetic to each other and trying to find some middle ground, and that's beautiful, sort of pure democracy, just civilized discussion and kind of looking for solutions and doing it civilly and without animosity, and that's pretty beautiful.
That is a
That's
beautiful thing, I agree. All right, very good. So I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Yay.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, good night, everyone.
Good night.